I think, and this is something I would like to make a study of, and I haven't. I think the difference is, as you put it, like they are literally property. I don't think, this is my guess. This would be my my research question. One of my research questions, if I were going to actually do this research, which I should do, is I just don't think slavery in that time worked that same way. So slavery lasts in the American South long after there is any sense in which, let's say there's a big house like Odysseus's house. There are no corporations. Nobody's going out and getting a job. Not everyone can run home places. So people are going to work with other, let's call them successful or large farms for whatever reason. Certainly the king of a land, right. Part of his duty, part of his job is to employ, certain people. And that might be being too generous. Yeah. I'm happy to hear that. The American South, obviously that's not something that's going on. A, B, the American Southern slavery is chattel slavery. It's a whole different thing. People are thought of as property and are roughly equated with animals, with farm equipment, essentially. Yeah. And people, believe they're, kindly helping out this inferior race or something like this. I mean, it's nobility to their way of thinking. I don't see that in the Odyssey. I don't see, it's not race-based. It's not genetic. It's not cultural. This could happen. You hear this over and over. This could happen to anyone. This could happen to Odysseus, right? He could be enslaved.
You're 100% right. So I think that's Paul. And I just want to say, like, to teachers, the conversation Paul and I are having, to me, and you might agree, Paul, this is like a dream conversation if you're teaching the Odyssey.
Yeah.
And it might not be about this issue, but it's about something that the Odyssey is clearly dealing with, but it's not a philosophical tract. So it's a complicated, messy set of lives interacting with each other, and it's not perfectly delineating what everything means. Mm-hmm. So we're just noticing the complexity of this issue and wrestling with it. And this is the beauty of like discussing and reading this book, Paul, I think. And I think that's really, really important, that you get slaves in America because you buy them, and you get slaves in the Iliad and the Odyssey because you win wars and you either kill the enemy or enslave them.
Right. And destroying the countryside and leaving, the women and children or the men who weren't about. I mean, that's as much as killing them, I'm sure, in many cases. So you take them with you.
No, and I'm really glad
that's a whole world. I don't know, and that's something someone who really
has to know more about it as well. It'd be really interesting.
I would like to, but I feel like what I like about this, that I think I feel, is that, even Penelope here, who has a lot more power, she could be behaving a lot worse. We're given parallel examples. Agamemnon's wife, for example. And Penelope herself could be violating what's good and decent, even though she has the power to do it, and no one would. She could get away with it. She's not. She's not doing that. So it's a complex. It's a complex moral web here. But the thing I'm hanging on to is that Homer presents humans with this same sort of Platonic charioteer soul, where you are guiding your own life at some level here. Even as a slave, you're wrestling with parts of your soul to get wherever fate or the gods can take you, and that's always on you. You're praised if you do it right, and you're blamed if you do it wrong. And you can't say, but I was a slave. That doesn't seem to be.
As someone who studied philosophy much more than I have, I need to ask you this. And if you don't know it, let's either open it up to comments here or let's you and I look it up. I know Aristotle had very specific notions of people's inherent sort of slavishness.
Yeah.
But did Plato have that? Do we know?
Yeah, I guess in the Republic you do get that. You get this laying out of society, and there are people with like different metals who are made for the different levels. But there is a temper or a quality to the soul. Maybe you have a ceiling. You're only going to be real smithy. You're not going to be a guardian of the state or something. But in that role, this is almost like, and there's this interesting correlations with Hindu philosophy within that caste. It is still your duty to be a good version of that part of the caste, that fate has cast you into. And so
Mhm.
it is your responsibility to wrangle the horses and, push reason and passions in the right direction, use
Yeah,
will
yeah.
and desire such that you get where you're supposed to go. Um,
Yeah, that's good. Okay.
so I don't know, but it's extremely complex. It's extremely complex, and I think also back to the pedagogical thing. I mean, I think one of the reasons why Homer and the Odyssey was, the bulk of early education,
Mhm.
is that this is a place where Homer tries to play those out in the real world, play this
Yeah.
philosophical ideas
Yeah, yeah.
out with actual people and actual circumstances, because that's where you figure it out.